Welcome back. I have a fun win to share with you. I have a client who plays the clarinet and she plays at concerts, enjoys playing at concerts. However, since COVID, she lost a lot of confidence and she was struggling with going into fight or flight and struggling with a harsh inner critic if she made a mistake or thought she might make a mistake. And she was also struggling with sometimes freezing during the concert or going off stage and practice and things like that. And it was a lot of inner turmoil for her because she genuinely enjoys playing clarinet, but felt like she couldn't do it in the way that she wanted to. Well, she signed up for Academy 8 weeks ago. And in her most recent concert, guess what happened? Zero negative reactions. So freaking exciting just to be able to do the thing that you want to do without having that physical reaction, that mental reaction, and for it just to feel good. I am so freaking proud of her, and I couldn't wait to brag about her today. I also wanted to give a quick surrogacy update. If you are new here, that you're probably like, surrogacy, like what is going on? But if you've been around for a while, you know we've been on this journey now for over a year since last January 12th. I think it was January 12th. I offered to be a surrogate for Kelly and Mark. And so I just wanted to give a quick update today. I'll probably give a more in depth one over the coming months. However, I am going to do one more transfer with them, one more embryo transfer. And I'm hopeful that this time will result in them having their baby finally. And if not, I will be heartbroken. I know they will be heartbroken and we will part ways and they will search for another surrogate to help them. If you pray, please send prayers. If you don't, please send positive vibes. I'll take it all. And if you want more updates, I share pretty often on my Instagram stories, so you can just go there and I'll continue sharing from time to time on podcast episodes. Another thing before I get into the episode today, I'm super excited because the week that you hear this episode is the week of the Bravecation Healing Retreat. That is a 5-day healing retreat, and it's an all inclusive experience, very experiential, and women walk away transformed, where how they feel about themselves is completely different. And how they feel about going after the things that they want is completely different. And obviously, I can and have a lot more to say about that. And I will, but I just wanted to share with you that that's happening this week. And I'm so freaking excited. I have a few new things that I've incorporated as well. So it's going to be an amazing experience. Now, today, I want to actually share with you a lesson learned from last year. And it's more of a relearning, but something that in 2024 wasn't always top of mind for me. And I caught myself in a pattern that I want to do a much better job with this year. Now, at the end of 2023, I decided that I was going to change my business model a little bit and put a lot more of my time and attention on expanding my group program, Brave Academy. Now, that program is designed to guide women to heal, to get out of fight or flight, and to break free from anxiety and related symptoms like perfectionism, control freak tendencies, and people pleasing. And what's most important to me is changing the lives of as many people as possible. And that's a little bit slower, actually, a lot slower when we go one client at a time. When it's one on one client followed by another one on one client, there's only so much that I can change. so there's only so much impact that I can have going one person at a time. But in a group program, it's incredible the transformation because people tend to ask the same questions over and over again. And when they're in the same room, they learn things and hear things in a different way, and they get to hear it multiple times. And they also feel really validated and see that they're not alone and that they can get better because everyone's at different stages in their journey. Anyway, so in 2024, I decided I'm going to put a cap on my one on one clients and put a lot of effort into expanding this part of my business. And I set a goal for how many women I wanted in the program for that year. And while there's nothing wrong at all with setting goals, I highly recommend that you do that. It's quite important to set concrete, measurable goals. I found something happened. As the year progressed, my goal changed. I kept increasing the number of women that I wanted in the program because I would get close or close ish to achieving that goal. And then I would move it and make it a higher number. And there's nothing wrong with that either. It's a good sign because it shows that I kept getting closer to the smaller previous goal. So, you're with me so far, I'm sure. And I want you just to take a moment and think about the goals that you've set for yourself. How often are you changing the so-called goalpost? How often are you moving? I don't know. The first one that pops in my mind is maybe a weight loss goal because especially in January, that tends to be top of mind for a lot of people. And how often, if that's the case, or any goal that you have, do you change what it is? Here's the opportunity for improvement. And this is for myself, but I want you to listen for you too. Whenever someone asked me how things were going in my business, my mind almost always went to a negative place about how I wasn't where I wanted to be yet. I constantly found myself measuring my progress against the ideal version. And the ideal version was this new number of clients in the program and a certain revenue goal as well. And it was an unachievable ideal because I kept moving the goal further and further away. How often do you also fall into this pattern? And when you do, are you catching yourself? Another piece of this, just for transparency, and it might make this make more sense. My expenses were a lot higher percentage of my revenue than I wanted them to be. So, of course, a business is not worth running if you are losing money or if it is not profitable, right? Like, I have to be able to pay my bills. I can't just like, oh, I'm a charity and I'm helping people. Somebody's got to pay my bills. I do. And so I've got business bills and personal expenses and all that. And so there are recommendations if you're not a business owner in terms of what percentage your expenses should be compared to your overall revenue, which is all the money coming in prior to taking out any expenses. I could go on about that, but that's a bit of a tangent. The point there is my expenses were a higher percentage than I wanted them to be. And even though I had brought in and helped more than 7 times the number of clients compared to the previous year, I wasn't where I envisioned myself when I thought about all of the goals. My expenses being in that certain revenue bracket, my being at a certain level, and the ultimate number of clients that I wanted to help. So, guess how that left me feeling emotionally from time to time? This was not like, in general, I wasn't always feeling this way, but when I'd get asked that question from another business owner, perhaps who's killing it, like, oh, yeah, how's business going? And when my mind would go there, I would not feel great. I felt somewhat inadequate, disappointed, and even frustrated at times. And I caught myself in a space where I questioned, like, how long is it going to take for me to quote unquote figure this out? Even though if I look at the 2021 version of me who left NASA, if she looked at this version of me, she would have said, I've figured it out. But now, knowing all the things that I know now, I haven't figured out this next new level. Are you following me here? I really want to make this point really clear. The key thing that I want you to take away from this episode is always measure backwards. As you move forward throughout the year and you work toward goals that you have for yourself, remember to compare today's version of you to the previous version of you. When we're in a space of measuring backwards and measuring against the previous version, numerous benefits happen. All of the gains that you've made become really apparent. And I gave an example of that for myself. If I stepped into the shoes of the 2021 version and I compared that to today, the number of gains is astonishing, not just personal, not inner work related. I mean, all those, yes, and in the business. And if I compare it to the 2026 ideal, that's not there. So always measure backward. And when you measure backward in that way, you're more likely to feel like you have achieved, to feel success and satisfaction and confidence and high self esteem and optimism about what's next and what you can achieve. Like that acknowledgement of your progress also increases your motivation and your likelihood that you're going to continue making gains. And it can be easy to forget to measure backward and see all of that progress. And yes, at the same time, it's okay to set the goal beyond where you are so that there's that continual improvement. That's really what I want you to take away from today. Always measure backward. And if you're sitting there thinking, okay, Steph, but what if things have gotten worse for me since I started working on a specific goal? That's possible. And I have a lot that I can coach you around there. One of the most important things for you to know is that you choose the meaning that you put on everything. If you decide that something is bad, that something that happened is bad, that's how it will be for you. If you decide that something that you didn't want to happen happened and that you're going to learn from it, that's how it will be from you. And if you learn from it, that's the point. And in that situation, that is a gain. So you've heard me today that I'm not always in that space of acknowledging gains. I fall in and fall out of it, and that's okay. And that's very normal. And what I encourage you to do today is to reflect on how you have been showing up when it comes to your personal progress and make a commitment to always measure backward. And when you don't, without judging yourself, shift your attention back to noticing all of the gains that you've made in that area. All right. That's it for this episode. I will see you next week.